That's
Yeah.
okay.
There you go.
Streaming.
It's very, yeah. At least
Yes,
we can still
sir.
talk to each other, because I thought it was just cutting off there. And we're live. Hello, everyone. Let's just see if you're there and you can see us, hear us. Please leave a comment so that, one, we know that everything's working and that you can hear us, and two, helps us know that we're not speaking out into the void. And if you do have, so if you've read the emails that we've sent out, I'm joined today by Katie Farrell, who is an email marketing expert. And if you do have any, well, I guess when you do send a message, if you could let Katie know what products you sell or what services you sell,
Yeah, I'd love
that'll
that.
help, because yeah, she'll be able to sort of give you some examples and think of things on the fly.
Our
Katie,
first comment.
oh yeah, let me open the pane.
Hi, Maud. Tell us what you
Oh,
sell.
oh no, it's James, I think, on Maud's
Oh.
account. Hey, James. James will let us know what he sells. They've got a very cool product, actually, I think.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Excited to get to know everyone. And
Would you like to give a brief introduction to yourself? I think no, go on. You give an introduction, and then I've got one quick story about you.
yeah. Oh, hi, Abby from Helix and Conch. She sells amazing jewelry. Macrame cords for crafting. I love that. That is right up my street. You will get to see that really quickly. Yeah, really excited. I mean, do you want me to just jump in?
I think so. I mean, some people give people two or 3 minutes to join, but
Yeah.
as a viewer, I'm like, oh, I've joined on time, and now you're making me wait. I think we should go if people want to watch
Maybe
it
we
back.
should chat a bit about how we actually connected and met in the first place.
Yeah, okay. So the way I met Katie, or how I know Katie, for those of you that are interested, we've e-commerce accountants where we specialize in working with e-commerce businesses. We actually have a mutual client, and what happened was their business did incredibly well during lockdown, and then after lockdown, like most businesses, it started to peter downwards, and then suddenly I noticed a massive jump in sales. We're talking very high percentages. So I jumped on a call with them because, first of all, I wanted to make sure, had we made any mistakes, because the costs didn't jump up as well. It felt very weird. Usually you'll see, advertising revenue jump up with sales, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be like, have we done something wrong? Did you expect this? Like, what's going on? And she said, oh no, I've been doing email marketing. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really? She's like, yeah, I've just got an email list and I'm just making use of it for free. I was like, oh, have you got a consultant? What do you do? And then she said, well, I've got Katie. She's amazing. You need to speak with her. And I thought, I need to speak with this lady because you could hopefully help a lot of our clients. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, that was such a great an account as well. If you want to know more, we're talking about Lucy, and I did a case study blog post on the blog, so you can take a look at what kind of results we saw with her. But it was so amazing. She already had the list. She did everything I told her to, which is always ideal. So yeah, I was really happy she brought us together. And excited to chat with you. So start to think. I've got a few slides to talk through at the beginning here, but what's on your mind with email marketing? You can already start dropping your comments into the chat. I'm here for the hour, so make use of me if you've got stuff that you want to ask about Clavio. I mean, we'll talk about that in a minute, but if you've got anything on your mind, you can go in. But let's just go for it. So I thought this was super catchy. Email for ecom. Here we go. Q&A on turning your clicks into customers. So let's just go into it. If you haven't met me before, I'm Katie. Along the way, I got the nickname KTO because I'm just so obsessed with email marketing. And I work on Clavio, which is an email marketing platform for e-commerce businesses. So this is me way back in the day. I had an e-commerce business myself. Around 14 years ago, I launched it. It was called The Social Circle, and I did kids sewing and craft kits. And I was well known for making amazing pom-poms. That's my super skill, like party trick skill, is I make like a killer pom-pom. So that's why I thought, oh, this macrame cords, because I used to stock those. But that's how I got started in e-commerce. I was very much the like creative founder that wanted to do everything myself. So I learned everything about, how to run a Shopify store. I did events. I learned how to run my own Facebook ads. I did all my own bookkeeping and accounting, which luckily now I outsourced at a certain point. But and as part of that, once Facebook ads were running and picking up traction, I was like, well, now I'm going to learn email marketing. So I set myself up on Clavio. I figured out what was working, what wasn't working. I tested loads of stuff. And that business was very much my like playground, like to experiment, learn what works. And at a certain point, I just kept getting tagged in small business Facebook groups like, oh, you have a question about Clavio? Ask Katie. She knows about that kind of stuff. And just started to build this reputation as like like end all know all of all things Clavio. So I started to do like audits for my friends and just be like, oh yeah, I'll check your Clavio account. And then I started to do account builds and very organically moved into just supporting creative small business owners with their email marketing in Clavio. So that's kind of my business journey where I am today. So now I would call it a boutique agency because I've got some lovely members on my team who support with design, copywriting, strategy. All but one of us, interestingly enough, have also owned an e-commerce business. So whether it was a bricks and mortar store, went online, we all have experience running our own businesses. And that tends to be one of the reasons why people love to work with us, because we know what it's like to be where you are now, trying to get your products into customers' hands. And one of the ways we do that, obviously, is with email. Why I loved email for my business and why, so many people love to use it now is obviously the kind of big things is like builds connection, builds your community. It's like your one way to talk with your audience. We're not like being driven by the algorithm, for example, drives consistent sales. So I figured out very quickly, if I sent more emails, I made more sales. It's like, and also like works behind the scenes for you. So a lot of what we'll kind of chat about, and one of the big things in email marketing are like these automated sequences called flows. And, having that working in the background means you don't need to be online on stories all the time. Like your flows are going out in the background, basically. So that's why we love it. But also it kind of makes a lot of sense in like the very literal sense. So for every £1 you put in, e-commerce businesses see around £45 back. So it's got a really high ROI, for example, high conversion rates. You should expect kind of 35 to 50% of your revenue to come from email marketing. So if you're not doing anything with email now, that's a really good kind of benchmark to think like, oh, what am I potentially missing out on, for example. And that was really true for Lucy. She was kind of making, £2,000 from an email, like a really small percentage. And then now I haven't checked recently, but yeah, it's upwards of like 50%, 45% of her revenue comes from email. So because I've done a case study on Lucy already, I thought I'd chat about one of my other clients. And I know Black Friday is on people's minds. Abby and I have spoken about Black Friday before as well. So she's in the audience. So that's the kind of thing that everyone's kind of starting to think about. If you haven't already, it's okay, but maybe you should start soon.
Can we just ask, sorry,
yeah.
Katie, just to see, those of you that are watching, has anybody got plans in place for Black Friday yet? Or are you guys still thinking about it? It'll be interesting to know. And for those of you that have joined late, if you could let us know, one, that you're here to say hello, that would be nice. And two, if you let us know what you're selling, the sort of products you sell or services, then Katie will be able to sort of give you any ideas as we go. And if you have any questions, if you start to build them up now, that'll be great, because we'll have a live Q&A at the end, and we'll get
just drop them in.
Thanks, Katie. Sorry.
Amazing. So Play Forever is one of my long-standing clients. They sell, as you can see, kind of premium toy cars. So when they first came to me in 2022, this was their Black Friday promotion. 3 emails, a kind of blanket, 15% off. They were only emailing their list when they had something to say. So that potentially meant like ghosting their list in between sends. They started out with 4,000 email subscribers. So this Black Friday a few years ago had 67 orders, and they had no flows set up. So that's kind of where we started. I've pulled out some screenshots from last year's Black Friday. So this is a couple years later. We have worked together now. This will be our 3rd Black Friday together. And you can kind of see the development in like design. So where they are now is like 22,000 plus subscribers. Last year for Black Friday, we sent 15 emails, which is a huge step up from the 3 that they sent, a couple years ago. In terms of like orders from their emails, they had 496 orders from their campaigns last year, which is a lot more than 67. And they also didn't ever have like Black Friday specific flows, for example. So that is only orders from their campaign. So they would have also had Black Friday specific flows and forms. And now on repeat, we're sending anywhere between 6 and 12 campaigns a month. So there's no more like ghosting. We're always in touch with their audience. We're not just waiting till another product is launching. We're always making sure we're retargeting, engaged people who haven't bought yet, or even like trying to get their existing customers to come back again. So it really kind of shows the power of, email marketing here. So when I say like email marketing as a term, it's obviously a lot more than just a newsletter. A newsletter is really important. That's like your monthly bulletin from you to your audience and your community. But there's obviously a lot more to that. I'm talking about like sign-up forms, like how people get onto your list. We're talking about campaigns, which are your kind of, what do they call it, like broadcast type emails, where it's like, this is new in, or this is running low in stock, or this is back in stock, for example. Automated flows, deliverability, making sure, our emails are landing in the inbox, all of that, A/B testing, that all kind of comes under this email marketing umbrella. If there's any of those that you're like, oh, I don't know what she's talking about, drop it in the chat, because I would love to, we can chat about flows. That's where I can really get in on a tangent. Okay, we've got a question here from Abby from Helix and Conch. The last quarter is always my best. So Q4 as a jewelry brand, that does not surprise me at all. Once I used Katie's Black Friday blueprint last year and started building my email list more in advance, it was my best Black Friday ever. This year, I expect to do 6 figures in Q4. That's amazing.
Have you planted someone here to
basically
you up?
Testimonial for my Black Friday blueprint? That will be available the first week of September, by the way, with updated version for 2025. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks, Abby. That's so lovely. So basically, how do we do this email marketing thing? So I am very much platform specific to Clavio, which is if you run a Shopify store, or they connect with others like WooCommerce and stuff. But if you run an e-commerce business, then I would highly recommend looking at Clavio if you're not on there already. It integrates like beautifully with Shopify. The amount of data you can get about your website browsers is insane, bordering on creepy. So, but in like a good way, because obviously we're going to monetize that behavior. It has a very clear ROI. So this is a screenshot I took from a client's account yesterday. And like in a second, I can see they've made $23,000 from email marketing in the last 30 days. So that is 17% of their total revenue. The other thing I can see is all of that money came from flows. They haven't sent a single campaign, which I'm on their back about because I'm like, you need to be sending campaigns too. But this kind of just goes to show like you can instantly see how you're performing. And also, how much of that money, that's like automated money that, automated sales coming through for them based on, their audience, how they behave on the site. And when they're signing up, there's actually no sign up opt-in discount on this account as well, which is like even more incredible. It's really easy to personalize as well. So that's one of the kind of catchwords of the year. Yeah.
Just a quick one, Katie, for the
Yeah.
benefit of anybody who's really new to email marketing. So you did mention flows and campaigns.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking a flow is an automated sequence that, so if someone joins the list, they'll get a bunch of emails in a flow.
Yeah.
And a campaign is just, like you mentioned broadcasting before. So is that like a one-off email or is that something else?
Yeah, exactly. So flows are the automated messages that you put in a strategic sequence. So a lot of people will think of like their welcome flow, for example. So someone signs up to an email list and then they get an email that says, thanks for signing up. Here's an offer that I've put together for you. And then the next email, maybe the next day might be like, hey, I'd love to introduce you to our bestsellers. Is there something here that you like? And then another email after that might be like, here's why customers love us. And then another email, then they go in sequence. And the campaigns are like what you think of as like a typical newsletter. Like it's very time sensitive. So like it's Friday, treat yourself, or payday offer, or we just launched this thing.
And is Clavio only on Shopify? Or if you have, another platform?
Yeah, so they are working on they've got a good integration with WooCommerce, for example. Because my experience is with Shopify as an ex-Shopify owner, that's what I tend to work on the most, because there are some things I can do in the back end of Shopify to, make their emails work better. So Clavio does integrate with a number of other platforms. So if you're not specifically on Shopify, I would take a look at it. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, sorry to interrupt your flow there.
That's all right. I get really carried away because I just love this stuff. So do interrupt. And yeah, if you have any questions about anything I've said, just drop it in. Like, what are you talking about?
And also, I know I told you off air, but your branding is incredible. I love the visuals behind this; are absolutely amazing.
Let's just like make it fun. That's kind of my philosophy. If we're gonna do it, it's gotta be fun. So essentially, we use Clavio. That's really great. And then what I kind of do from there is like, I want you as the Shopify founder, or, e-commerce, creative e-commerce founder. I want you to do you. That's the whole reason why I exist, for example, because you're the expert in your product. You're the expert on your customers. You've got 1,000 hats to wear. And I know that from being where you've been. So that is the reason why clients come to me to get help with their Clavio or to get help with their email marketing, so that you can spend more time doing what you do best. So in Lucy's example that we talked about at the beginning, for example, she's like a total expert in her niche. And she could spend more time sharing that expertise and content with her audience, knowing that her flows, for example, were all set up, and making sure, anytime someone clicked from her newsletter onto her website, they were getting emails to say like, hey, like, did you see something you liked? And making sure we're kind of following up. So as a consultant, I want to make sure you stay in your kind of zone of genius and I stay in mine, and let's see, what kind of email magic we can make happen. So the way I support different Shopify stores and founders like you, we have, for example, if you're already set up on Clavio, we can do an audit. We call that the email fix, because we're going to fix your clicks, for example. If you are thinking, oh gosh, I really want to get like all my flows set up, or I'm just starting with email marketing, I want it set up correct from the start. Clicks and Flows is our build service. And then we also have clients where we fully manage their email marketing. So that'll be like, for example, Play Forever, who's like, we want to like crack Black Friday. Can you come in, help us build out the full works kind of thing? So those are the different ways that I support different clients. We have all sorts of sizes as well. So if you're starting, everyone starts from zero, for example. So there's lots of ways that we can kind of support you, whether we do it for you or help you with it as well. So one of the things I wanted to share here is, if you're like, oh my gosh, I need to chat with you, you can just scan this QR code on your phone and you'll be able to see, you can book a call with me. I've opened up some slots for next week, so I'd love to chat with you next week. You can connect with me on Instagram, for example. My username is It's Katie Farrell. I've got it in my name, so it's super easy. And obviously, I would love for you to join my email list, because I share weekly tips specifically for e-commerce founders for email marketing. So, for example, what to do this week to get ready for Black Friday. So you'll have a link to sign up for that as well. But drop your questions. I'm ready to go. That was my little spiel.
Thank you, Katie. And Dan, if we could leave this QR code up for people if they wanted to perhaps scan it, or if people join late, that would be appreciated.
Yeah.
And so we're about to go into Q&A. I've got a few questions myself. Through our email list, we did have some that were sent through in advance.
Oh, amazing.
But before I go into those, this content is obviously slightly different to what we usually do as an accountancy, a little bit less dry. It's not talking about tax. We're trying to kind of keep things varied for our client base. So if you like this content, please don't forget to like the video. Next month, we've got a tax-related one on research and development coming up, and then we do have something else in the pipeline that I'll keep as a bit of a mystery. So yeah, if you do like the content, or if it's interesting, please leave a comment to let us know, so that we're encouraged to keep doing this. The question that I had, Katie, was, you mentioned early on that it's all about sending more emails.
Yeah.
Is there not the worry that you're spamming people? Because I would always worry. I'm very precious when I email our list or clients. I'm like, I don't want to disturb people. People will unsubscribe. They'll hate me. But you've said this about sending more. Like, is there a limit? Is there a sweet spot?
Yeah, I have the most annoying answer. It depends. I hate when people say that. I hear that all the time. Like, people are like, I don't want to be spammy. You're not spammy. You're like a lovely person, and all the founders are the same. They're like, I don't want to annoy my list. But I challenge you to look into your inbox at some of the brands that you've signed up with, and keep an eye on how often they're emailing you, because you read or delete or archive their messages without even kind of thinking about it, until one day you're like, oh my gosh, I need something. And that is the brand that's at the top of your inbox. And that is the reason why we email a lot more than we think we do, because not everyone will need your product all the time, or as frequent as you maybe would like. But that time when they're like, I need a gift for my nephew, and that Play Forever email hits their inbox, and they're like, of course, Play Forever, that's the perfect gift. Or, of course, it's my mother's birthday next week. I've got Abby at the top of my inbox. I'm going to shop for some earrings. Or, I've got this creative project. I need to get some macrame cord in. it's not about like every email won't make you all the sale. It's not like every customer is going to buy from every email, but a group of customers will buy from each email. And it's making sure you're always kind of top of mind for when it counts. And that is the fun bit, is coming up with kind of different content ideas. But I would say if you need an answer, a definitive answer, I would say think about your kind of list size, how much you could kind of split it down. So I'll give you some numbers. If your list size is kind of 2,000 or less, I would probably be emailing them like once a week as a minimum. I think that's
Once a
good.
week.
Like once a
Wow.
week. It depends on, maybe it depends a little bit on what you sell, but I would like, as a minimum, I try to get everyone to email like once a week. It's like not intrusive at all. If your list is kind of getting a little bit bigger, then you can move into, 2 times a week, sometimes 3. Again, it depends what's happening in the calendar. So the reason I say this with like a caveat is like, if you're running a sale, you wouldn't just send one email about your sale. You'd announce your sale, then you'd remind people the sale is running, and then you'd, show them what's running low in stock in the sale. And then you would say last chance to shop the sale. I mean, that's 4 emails that you could potentially send in a single week. So I say that as a maybe outside the Christmas period or outside sales and promotions, like once a week is a good kind of thing to aim for. But it also depends on what you can kind of manage. So if you can only manage 2 emails a month, deliver those consistently, and your customers will come to expect that. What I don't want you to do is now go away from this webinar, be like, Katie told me to email every week, so I'm going to do that for 3 weeks, and then I'm going to get overwhelmed and not email anything for 3 months. Don't do that. So
any clients that are on this any clients that are on this stream will suddenly
Katie told me to do this.
Yeah.
So I would say, pick a cadence that you can keep up with, and they'll come to expect that kind of cadence.
And Maud and James have said that they use, that Shopify have email marketing and a form of flows or automations. How does Clavio compare? Like, what does it do better, considering you specialize in it?
Yeah, so I do a lot of Shopify Mail migrations from Shopify Mail to Clavio. I think Shopify Mail is a really good, it's different apps now, isn't it? It's Flow and Forms. I think they work really good as like a starting place, but I find personally the data tracking a little bit, it's hard to see what's working and what's not there. It's, you can set up flows in there and workflows, but it's difficult to see, who's clicking on those emails, which messages are converting, which button are they clicking in that message. I haven't looked at it close enough to see, like, can you do A/B testing in there? I think where Clavio exceeds is in like the possibilities of personalizing the messages. So for example, you could be sending a slightly different email depending on what someone left in their cart, or what kind of product category they were viewing, for example, or what thing they bought. Does it have different aftercare instructions that need to be sent with it? And being able to build these like really personalized journeys is where kind of Clavio comes into its own. And being able to see, like, in the first screen, like, oh, this email, has this open rate, this click rate, and this is how much money I've made from that email. If it's below what I was kind of expecting, like, let's set up A/B tests on it, for example. So I think the possibilities for personalization are much better with Clavio. But as a starting point, I think any email marketing is better than no email marketing. But if you're ready to kind of level up a little bit, I would take a look at Clavio. Hurly Burly, personalized jewelry brand based in London. What kind of jewelry do you personalize? Is it bracelets, or yeah, give me a little bit more information. I love this. I also use Clavio and Shopify. I wanted to ask your thoughts on using dynamic coupon codes. When do they work best, and are they more likely to convert? I love this question. Okay, so dynamic coupon codes, yes, in birthday flows, that's a perfect example. So dynamic coupon codes are like codes that you get in your email that are like typically like a mix of letters and numbers. So it'll be like welcome X9Z. You've all seen them before. These are personalized to that specific customer. So the beauty of these, that this is versus like welcome 10 from Shopify, like a discount code you've made in your store that's like hello 10 or welcome 10. These obviously are not personalized at all. So why we use dynamic codes is because you can set the expiry date on them. So in Clavio, for example, you can say, I want this code to expire 30 days or 10 days after it's been generated. And that just happens behind the scenes, so that in your flow, for example, you can say your code is about to expire and you're not lying. Like everyone knows welcome 10 is not about to expire. Even though I've had emails saying it is, I'm like, it doesn't. That's not true. So you can, like, I would say, authentically and genuinely use urgency in your emails by using dynamic codes. It also just makes it feel personal. Like, this is my code. This is just for me, which is why they recommend using it in the birthday flow, for example. I generally use dynamic codes in all the flows. So anything automated, I make sure those are dynamic. And then in a campaign, for example, so say you're running Black Friday and you use a discount code, BF20 or whatever, I would use those kind of discounts for sales and promotions in campaigns, for example, because you can kind of set that expiry on the other, like back end in Shopify. So that's why. The other reason is because I'm seeing quite often, even with small businesses, their discount codes listed on like third-party coupon sites. So someone told me, that's fine, a sale is a sale. I'm like, but you could get that sale and their email address. So why not get that email address? So yeah, two sides of the coin, I guess. But that is the reason why we use dynamic codes, because they're personalized.
Just
yeah, go for it.
We did get a bunch of questions coming through our email list ahead of time. So everybody else that's watching live, please keep the questions coming. We'll go back to those in a moment. But one of the questions we had was more around, I suppose, more of a general question. What are the most common mistakes you see entrepreneurs make, especially when it comes to email marketing or starting email marketing?
I would say, and I've mentioned it once already, is that it's like just not starting or like waiting too late to start. For example, I have this, I could call it an argument, but I have this conversation often with, for example, ads managers, because for me, I obviously started Facebook ads before I started email marketing, but so I always like to say, like, you'll get really quick results from email marketing if you're already driving paid traffic to your site, because it's like turning on the tap. Like, you're like, okay, great, we've got conversions from day one. But all my ads manager friends are always like, well, I tell them to sort their email marketing before their ad spend, because for them, they want to make sure their customer and their clients aren't losing out on any potential revenue. So as soon as you start driving traffic, you need to make sure that you have pop-ups, to capture their data, because nowadays it's less likely that people kind of convert on the first visit to the site. So there's always like kind of chicken and the egg. Both are fine. I would say just not starting soon enough, or as a minimum, if you're driving paid traffic to your paid traffic to your site, at least have a pop-up or some sort of opt-in. That's the biggest mistake, of like not growing your list as soon as you can, or just,
Do pop-ups work?
Yes.
Do they actually? Because
Yeah.
maybe I'm just as the sort of person that's very cantankerous. When they come up, I'm
You're
immediately like,
cynical.
oh wait, I'm trying to look at your website. Stop popping up.
Yeah, they work. Actually, the screenshot a few slides back from that client that made all that money from flows only. He was the same. He's like, I don't want to pop up. I was like, come on, Dennis, you're killing me. In the best possible way, I convinced him to be like, let's just try it, for 2 weeks. Like, is that all right? He's like, okay, I hate pop-ups though. And I have to remember off the top of my head, but it was like he had something crazy, like an 11% form submit rate. So this means like 11% of the people that landed and viewed that pop-up signed up. That is crazy.
Wow.
3% is Clavio's kind of, you're doing good. 3%.
What was the sort of offer in the
It's
pop-up?
just like giving people the opportunity. For this brand in particular, it's slightly different. He sells educational checklists, so like PDF downloads and stuff. So we just gave them like a free like preview of the checklist, and that was, but he didn't have pop-ups before, so just being able to give people the opportunity to stay in touch with you is like gold. For a lot of brands, they'll offer some sort of discount or incentive. That's kind of more common for different verticals and things. Wow. But yeah, they work. So put them up.
And probably a related one. 2 seconds down, I've just got another question from the pre-list.
Yeah.
And I think it's related to the pop-ups really. So somebody said, I'm just getting started and I don't have an email list. So all they're doing at the moment is Facebook advertising to drive traffic. What, in your opinion, are some of the best methods to start building one?
Yeah, so I was going, well, you've kind of given a context to it. So what I was thinking about before when I read that question was definitely a pop-up. If you have a pop-up, there's actually more forms you could have. So for example, you could have one that is also triggered when someone's about to exit the site. And that one is called an exit flyout. And it's just like a little bit more urgent. So before you leave, you want to say like, oh, wait, before you go, don't forget to sign up for 10% off, for example. And just like having that usually outperforms the welcome pop-up, because if you think about how people kind of behave, they land on your site, you're like, hey, so happy you're here. Here's 10% off. And, people might be like you. Get out of the way. I just want to look around, and then you look around and then you're like, you get distracted or you're about to leave. And then that's where this one kind of slides in and says, wait, before you go. And you're like, oh yeah, I actually do want that 10% off now. And then they sign up. So that tends to have higher rates, but that is the form most people are missing. There's obviously loads of like little tactics you can do. Like I've seen, you can put QR codes in your packages that you send to customers. I have a few because we've got some jewelry brands in here. If one of my retainer clients twice a year runs like a competition on Instagram for a gift card to spend. So we do it strategically in October before Christmas shopping season to grow her list. And it'll be, instead of, like and comment on this post, it's head to this link, sign up to my email list, and we choose a winner from there. So the first year we ran that, it got her 600 new subscribers. So these were like net new. So when we did kind of some segment analysis after, we saw, there were kind of 900 to 1,000 like entrants, and 600 of those were net new. And that is a massive boost for a small, brand right before Christmas. So there's kind of lots of these kind of little things that you can do. You can piggyback with another brand, for example, to do something like that.
Wow.
But I would say the kind of first, when people ask me what's the best way to grow my list, have a pop-up, give people opportunity and drive traffic to to your site and give them something worth signing up for. So Brindley left a comment that says, I get 8 to 10% sign up rate when I offer a discount. When I offer no discount, 2 to 3%. We sell phone cases. So that is kind of, yeah, you can offer no discount. That's an option, but you'll have far fewer signups.
Well, I've just got a question for Ben there. So when you offer no discount, what is it that you're offering people in that pop-up? Because to me, 2 to 3% of people still opting in. It must be something like quite enticing to get someone to give their email. If you wouldn't mind sharing that, I'd be quite interested to know.
Yeah, but equally, when I think about like now like phone cases, I'll show you my sparkly dinosaur one here. Phone cases are turning into like fashion accessories. So I would say a few years ago, people upgraded their phone, bought a new case, and they kind of kept that case. But now what I'm seeing is people like almost changing their cases, like they changed their handbag, for example, and they're very much becoming this great like repeat purchase kind of business model. So I love that for you, Ben. Yeah, because there's so much potential to get more purchases. People now own multiple cases for their phone. I don't think it was really like that kind of 5 years ago.
Maud and James mentioned earlier. So, what's your advice to grow email subscribes? I currently, I currently leave sign up email as default on checkout. A bit cheeky.
Naughty.
This to get onto our GDPR.
Actually, this goes on to our next question. Let's talk about GDPR.
It means all my subscribes are all purchased at least once. So.
Okay. For one, you cannot have that pre-ticked for GDPR. We were talking before this about what you can and can't do. That's actually something you shouldn't do. But I get that you're like, I want to get as many subscribes as possible. That's great. So on your list, everyone will have like customers, but we also want non-customers because those are the ones that are going to purchase on the welcome flow or, through your campaigns and things. So if that is your only means, having that tick box at checkout, then I would take a look at your website. So you're not capturing many potential customers. I would take a look at your website. If you already have a pop-up, then I would, in Clavio, just go to the form library and search for exit flyout. And you'll be able to find a default form there with the right targeting that you can kind of edit with your branding. Another thing, I'm just going to go back. Just give me a second to find an example. So Dan, if you share my slides, another thing that you can do is something like what Black and Beach has done here. So this is an Instagram story, for example. So I already mentioned run a contest or giveaway to drive signups on Instagram or whatever social channel you're on. This is something I get all my clients to do on a weekly basis. You can create a little graphic in Canva or your favorite photo editing thing. And it just says like, become a subscriber, join the gang, here's how, stay in touch with us. Here's what's coming up. Give a little blurb about what they can expect and just use the little link sticker to send them to a page on your website that just has the sign up form. So it's like sort of like a landing page. So they don't get distracted. The worst thing is to be like, go to my website, wait for a pop-up. Maybe that'll show up, maybe it will, or scroll down to the footer and put your email in there. We want to create a dedicated page so people like go there, they sign up, and then they're on your list. So that is an easy thing that you could action this afternoon. Create a embed form, put it on a Shopify page, and share the link on stories. Another thing that I have seen working like crazy, it's like crack for email list growth, is if you have a sale or an outlet collection on your site, on your store, you can put a pop-up that's like full screen that says, in order to access our sale or our outlet section or, clearance, you must be on the email list. And it basically like gatekeeps the sale in front of the email, and like everyone will sign up to that because curiosity is like human nature, and they're like, I have to know what's in the sale. And that is a really good tactic to grow your list very quickly. So if you put that behind it.
Sorry to that. So just to go over that. So is that just a very large pop-up, or is that a specific sort of pop-up type that people would use on Shopify?
Yeah, so it's called a full page pop-up in Clavio. So it has a specific type now. We used to have to do a workaround to get that.
If someone puts in a fake email or just a string of characters, does it still?
I think it has to have the @ because Clavio will know if it's not a real email address. It has to be like an actual email address, but I guess someone could put in a fake one. But I love what Ben's just said here. Just like join the Brinley VIP, ask for their date of birth for a birthday surprise. That's such a lovely way to kind of stack value on a sign up. So I have on a few clients, it says sign up for 10% off and a birthday discount, because now 10% off is kind of run of the mill. So it's a great way to stack value and reward your community.
I think was that Ben's 2 to 3% conversion, the one he mentioned.
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea. I like that.
Yeah. I was going to say as well, that kind of feeds into like before you launch a product, you can collect early access to a product launch, or for Black Friday, for example, you could be collecting like early access to the Black Friday sale. And that is not giving them a discount. It's giving them something else that they value, which is the opportunity to shop first. So if you don't want to do a discount, I was against the pop-up too. But you're the first one to convince you. Just try it. Yeah. I'm open to a pop-up now. I had to run great content. Thanks so much for joining. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, James and Maud.
Yeah.
So what about the time of day? So is there a good or a bad time? Does it matter on the product? What's your opinion on, or even day of the week?
Yeah, I've found some things that work across the board and some kind of outliers. So generally, I would say if you want to know the best time of day and day of the week to send your emails, I would just keep in the back of your mind, if you're your ideal customer, if not, think about your ideal customer. What do they do on a typical week and when? Because there are general things. So I would say a lot of the clients I work with tend to have mom or parent audiences. So we think about when you're scrolling on your phone, which is when you're kind of dopamine shopping, which is like I like to call it. That is on Sunday nights, for example, when you are like just hanging out. You're like, oh, let's get ready for next week. Let's check my emails, clear the inbox a bit. Sunday night is prime shopping time. Equally, Saturday early morning, if you think about maybe your audience is taking their kids to football practice and they're just sitting on the bleachers or sitting on the sidelines like, oh, what am I going to do for 2 hours while I watch them, kick the ball around. Thursday and Tuesday evenings tend to be quite good. So I would say those are kind of general. I've said evenings quite a few times because that's really like a kind of parent thing. But I have one client who has more like middle-aged men audience who is maybe be a parent, but they tend to be more like grandparents. So for them at 12 p.m., so kind of midday, and 3 p.m. are really good. And we've tested it extensively. So we've kind of figured out, okay, for you, Saturday mornings also work really well for them. But during the week, kind of midday and 3 p.m. Works really well for them. So those are the kind of, I would try to avoid kind of Mondays if your audience has an office job or works somewhere, because their Monday mornings are primarily going to be checking the inbox, going to week meetings, kind of think about what their kind of flow might be. But those are kind of my general. Try Sunday night. That's usually what I say.
Does Clavio have analytics within it to help figure that out based on your list? So if you send several different times, that it would start to tell you?
Yeah, you can do it manually until you're your audience size needs to be around 12,000 to run their kind of send time tests. But you can do it manually by doing, an A/B test on your campaign. So I'm going to try, for example, Thursday, 7 a.m. versus 7 p.m. That's a really easy test. And you'd be able to see the results in a day. But once your audience is a little bit bigger, you can send a test that basically drip feeds your campaign to a percentage of your audience every hour for an entire day. So you want to obviously run a few of these because there's day of the week, things like that. But that's a really interesting way to see on the graph, like, 9 a.m., a lot of people are opening it. And then, 3 p.m. And that's where I've kind of figured, midday and 3 p.m. work well for this brand because we ran several of those kind of tests. So that's like the stuff that I'm like, let's try this.
And you mentioned dopamine a little while ago. And for anybody who hasn't seen Katie's website, Katie has one of the best taglines or slogans that I've ever seen on a website. So Dan, if we're able to share Katie's website now, or perhaps if we could share the QR code so people can see. Would you like to remind them, Katie? Because I don't want to get it wrong, because I know the two D words that are in it, and it was so powerful. I was just like, I need to speak to this person.
The tagline for my website is dynamite emails for dopamine sales. Honestly. Expert Clavio services for scaling Shopify stores. I love alliteration. Can you tell?
Honestly, it was so good. And in terms of, look at that, just looks amazing. If people like what they've heard so far, are interested in working with you, would you be able to give some sort of ballpark pricing so that people know whether you're out of budget, within budget, and the sort of services you offer?
Yeah, so I'll go back to, let me find my slides. We work with brands of kind of all sizes here. So if you're set up already, the email fix is like the audit. Also includes a flow strategy. So, if you've got just a couple flows set up, we're going to fill the gaps and map that out for you. So the email fix is $1,500 plus VAT. And then you can implement the updates yourself. Those are really good for like DIYers that are like, I just need you to tell me what I need to do kind of thing. Clicks and Flows is our most popular service. So this includes a 6-week build phase. So we will build your pop-ups and forms, design you a lovely master template, build you out 20 automated emails, which is a great foundation across your flows. And then we also support you for 6 months with monthly campaign planning calls. So this is usually where I find people like struggle and they're like, great, I've got my shiny new email system. Now what do I do? Or what do I send? So this is meant to support you for 6 months. So you get the flows at the beginning, but then we're also going to make sure you're sending consistent emails. We're testing new ideas. We're figuring out what's working and what's not working. So this is £1,250 a month for 6 months. So we work together for the whole half year. And for people that are kind of joining at this time of the year, then you obviously get me for Black Friday Q4 support. So we had a lot of signups in July for everyone that's like, I need to get my flows sorted before Q4. So that's a service we have the most clients on. And then if you are, I would say the Clicks and Flows is really appropriate for people kind of pushing to that 1 million mark. And that is the kind of next milestone in yearly annual turnover. If you're, you've hit that and you are doing multiple and you're like, just want to totally outsource your email marketing, then the full send is the retainer. And that depends on how many campaigns you send a month. But generally we start with 6 emails a month, total flow support, form optimization, Black Friday, building out. And that is £2,500 a month plus VAT. So just to kind of give you a different, business levels need different levels of support. So yeah.
Thank you, Katie. And we've got 2 more questions. If anybody else in the chat does have any questions, feel free to see if we can shoehorn them in at the end. I'm
Yeah.
going to save my favorite question till the very end, but more of a technical question, subject lines.
Oh yeah.
How much do they matter? And do you have any golden rules around these?
Yeah, so there's so much chat about subject lines. I've seen some really interesting stuff like 9 words or less. Like, come on. So when you think about subject line length, shorter is better. Never use an emoji at the beginning of your subject line because that is like a red flag for like spam bots. So you can use 1 or 2 at the end or in the middle, but never at the beginning. And then whenever I'm writing a subject line, I try to think about what kind of emotion I want to evoke. So the more people that open your email, which is all down to your subject line, the more people will click and the more people will go onto your website. So that's what we're trying to get. So a lot of opens. So I usually think your subject line should evoke either curiosity, which we've talked about once already, where it's like, let's get them to like open, drive that curiosity to be like, I need to find out, I need to know. FOMO, I don't want to miss out on this. I have to see, that's like quite similar to curiosity, but basically they don't want to miss out on it. So they're going to open and click and figure that out. And then excitement, like I can't wait to open this email because either the content is going to be really exciting because of the words that you've used in your subject line, or you just send really good emails and they know that, and everything inside is going to be good. And so keep that in mind. Curiosity, FOMO, excitement.
Wow. And are there any rules on how to kind of distill those things down? Because I have no idea how you can.
You can chat GPT that. I'll give you that.
Okay.
Get a lot of options for all of those 3 emotions and then pick one that speaks to you. That's a quick, easy way. Quick and dirty.
Thank you. And then since we've not had any questions from the comments, and I'd like to say we actually did breach, I saw on our YouTube, we did breach a high score in the number of concurrent views. So thank you and well done, Katie. Thank you for everyone that's here. Again, if you like the video, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Let us know if you're a client, if this content was useful and interesting, even though it wasn't tax related, let us know because we'll focus on doing more of this. The final question I have is, what is the craziest strategy you've implemented that actually worked? And I know you mentioned the large pop-ups already, but has there been anything more insane than that?
Do you know what? I was thinking about this while I was eating my porridge this morning, and I think the thing that surprises me the most, it's not, I feel like you're looking for crazy marketing ideas, but I think the thing that maybe surprises people the most is that sometimes the simplest ideas are the work better than anything else. I feel like people overcomplicate email marketing or just think I've got to do something crazy and outlandish. And actually, like, if you think about it, it's like the simple stuff works. So don't make it harder for yourself, basically. So a few things that kind of popped my mind is like, I had one client where we just sent reviews. Everyone's like, share testimonials and reviews to build customer trust. And you're like, yeah, okay. But we literally just sent an email that was like, rave reviews from our top customers. And then we had 4 reviews. So it was like just review snippet, image of the product link over and over again. And that email did so well. I was like, no way this actually works like this. I was like, it can't be that easy. So we were like, oh, let's try it again. So we did it again kind of 6 weeks later, leave a little gap between these things. And it had like similar results. It's like, okay, maybe it is this easy. And it's been over like 2 years now that we literally send this, same email every 6 to 8 weeks. And it converts every single time. We change the reviews, change the images. The design has kind of been updated over the years, but I just can't believe it. I don't want to say it's like printing money, but it's like the little things that you're like, it can't be this easy. So I would say it's the simple stuff. But my caveat to that story is that I was like, this will work on everyone. It doesn't. It depends on your audience. So I tried the same thing on a jewelry brand, and it could have just been that brand's audience. So if you have jewelry, Abby, and there was one other one that had a lovely name, Hurly Burly. Just test it because you never know what will work for you. It didn't have the same like crazy results. So there you go. You have to test different stuff and you might be surprised what actually works. And don't be afraid to try stuff that's maybe a bit out of the box, like happy hour. That's another one. Happy hour sales. Tell people it's coming and just run a sale from whatever it is, 2 to 5 p.m. Short, sharp.
Abby's managed to get a final question in. Thank you so much, Abby, and thank you for all the comments. It's been really appreciated.
So I have another one. If sales are slow, it's always okay, I will send a discount code, but we don't always want to do that. What else? What are some other ideas? So basically the question is, how can we build kind of purchase urgency without giving people a discount code? So the top kind of ideas that come to mind are, how else can you build urgency? You can bring something back in stock. So whether it's, and this might be like not something you could do tonight because you're like, I need sales. But if you have anything kind of coming back in stock that's been out of stock for a while, that is a very natural way to be like, and I need to get it because it might sell out again. You could bring back a colorway or a style that hasn't been, around for a while and be like, I've brought this back due to customer demand or something like that. Anything low in stock. So this is something you could maybe implement tonight or this weekend. Check your inventory in Shopify. What is kind of running low to your final SKUs and run these are so popular, they're running out. Don't miss out. It doesn't need to be true if they are slow sellers, but chuck some stuff in there. I find low stock emails work really well to just, it's FOMO. People are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to miss out on this. So that's a really easy one. Yeah, anything stock related. Mystery boxes is something I've seen with more like lifestyle accessory brands doing really well with. So they'll curate boxes into different price ranges, different colorways. I have a handbag brand that does like neutrals, brights. Obviously, I'm like the bright client, the bright customer. Everyone will have, and she does different tiers. Yeah, you just started mystery boxes. They're flying. That's perfect. It's also a good way to clear old stock, like dead stock, and get cash for that. And people feel like it's exciting for them because they won't know until they get it. And that's just all around a great strategy to try, basically.
Well, Katie, thank you so much. I think Abby was trying to get hold of someone else for you, but
maybe she'll.
That's a shame. Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Katie, for all of your information and for your presentation. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Hopefully see you all in the next webinar. We're speaking about research and development tax credits, which is a huge way of saving money if you're starting new products. If you want to get in touch with Katie, if you need help with email marketing, then check out her website. Dan, if you're there, maybe let's put the QR code one last time for anyone who's happened to miss it. Katie, thank you so much. Have you got any final knowledge bombs or words of wisdom before we pull the plug?
I just wanted to say that I am more than happy to answer any questions in Instagram DM, for example. I'll just go over to that page, Instagram DM. So that's where I hang out. Don't message me on LinkedIn. But I mostly hang out on Instagram. I'm happy to give some, advice if you want this kind of free 20-minute call to chat about, what might be most helpful for you. Then go ahead and book a call. I think everyone finds those calls more than valuable. It's not just a sales call, but if I can help you out in any way, I'm happy to. And yeah, I'm going to be starting on my Black Friday prep emails. So make sure you're on my email list if you want to know week by week, what you should be working on for Black Friday. And say hello. Let me know that you found me via this Q&A, because then, would love to connect with you.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thanks
See
so
you all
much.
soon. Bye.
Bye.